Wow.
After Marvin told that story about the charge man, I was thinking, like, is there a charge man of Chicago? And I decided, I started thinking, well, he must be the guy that. So I used to drive Aaron to school every morning, and there's a guy on Clark Street who every day he's in, begging. And one morning, a couple times I made him an egg sandwich, and he's like, "There's no pork in here, right?"
Oh my gosh.
And I started thinking, well, maybe he's the charge man of Chicago.
Well, there you go. Maybe.
There every day. He's still on, and I drive, he's there every day, all day. You know.
You mean Marvin's not the charge man?
Uh,
Marvin's not the charge. Well,
Yeah.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Matt from New York.
he's not giving away that secret, Matt. Now that you've confronted him, he has to say no.
No, I don't beat him enough.
Yeah, that's it. Beat him about the head. Maybe he'll make some spiritual progress.
Yes.
One time, one time, Darwin and I think Fred Winterfeld and a few of them were with Bob, and they asked if there are any musts in America. And Baba kind of looked out over kind of with a long gaze, and he says, "Yeah, there are some, but you're not to contact them. But we do have some here."
Oh, there you go. Well, I thought Harold Rudd might have been one.
Yeah, he was he was getting there. Yeah.
Harold Rudd? Did you say
What?
Harold?
Harold Rudd, yeah, he was quite a
Harold
character.
Rudd.
Anybody
Sometime
know?
we'll get somebody on here who knows who was it the other night that
Robin.
Is related to Virginia?
oh, Robin was here. Was that Effort and Grace that
Yeah,
you
it was
mentioned
Effort
that?
and
Yeah.
Grace. Before Effort
Yeah.
and Grace, we had
Yeah.
a little.
I don't know anything.
You don't know anything.
Oh, how do you know you don't know anything?
This
Oh,
is
good a question. Let me ponder on that.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Samantha lives at our house.
You don't know anything. You know you don't know anything, so you know something.
You
Yeah.
don't know anything.
You know,
Everything and the
Baba.
nothing. Oh my God. It's all coming together.
Val used to quote Baba as saying, "Knowledge is knowing. There's nothing to know."
Ah,
Oh, very good.
Oh yeah. Oh, well then, but you just don't give up. You keep wanting to learn more, right?
Yeah. That's where we are. We're still, looking through the details of the world of illusion,
Oh
looking
my
for the answers.
You're making my head spin.
Yeah. Hey, I see Matt is there. Good to see you, buddy.
Matt!
Hey, that reminds me, remember we had that talk, I think it was Gadakar or something, but the riddle was, what is that one thing that Baba doesn't know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
See if you can
I can't remember. Don't ask about memory, so anything, if I can't Google it, I should.
Yeah, right.
Baba put to a number of people there, what is the thing
Good type of question.
that I don't have?
All right, go cook dinner.
Oh.
And people gave all sorts of questions, all sorts of answers and everything. No one could get the answer. It took them a long time and no one came up with the answer. Now, Matt, do you remember the answer? Or Angela?
I'll have to watch that recording.
Let's
It
see,
was-
what was it?
It was something like nothing. I don't have nothing or something like that.
There's nothing I don't know.
There's nothing I don't know. Yeah, right. Something like that.
Wait, oh God, it was a better answer than that, but I can't quite remember.
It was similar.
Which talk was it? How long ago?
This was Dr. Gadakar, and he quizzed, and I put it in the notes, the YouTube
About a month
description.
and a
So this
half
is
ago or
like
something.
maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pinku,
Yeah, Dinku is here.
and of course
And
Priya.
Priya was here a little while last time and then she disappeared.
She promises she's here.
Yeah. What time is it there, Priya?
Morning.
40 past 8 this morning.
Okay,
20 minutes.
8:40. Uh-huh. Yeah, there was something you weren't there last time, but I mentioned something about Mara, but I'll hold off on that because I
I will.
mentioned what was that?
Please go ahead.
Well, no, I won't. I mean, I'll do that at another time because they were here and they heard. So I will get it. I will get it to you sometime.
Thank you.
You can
Yeah.
always repeat it. It's a new crowd.
It's fine. You can. I
Yeah,
don't remember
I
what
don't
he
remember
said. I'm not like
Oh
it
yeah.
remembers everything.
Yeah. Oh, good. We got Brad here.
Ah,
Hey,
hi, Brad. Hey, Bob.
Hi,
the
how are you?
the party begins.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Hunter
He
will be
makes a
joining.
big splash when he shows up.
He's glad.
This is the big splash. He makes a big splash.
That's the big splash right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice painting.
Thanks.
You need to lower it so we can see it. Just
I
kidding.
know.
Back,
Or you could just stand. You could
I'll
stand
just
for the
talk
whole
like
time.
this.
back to the must. Does anybody remember that Nijinsky? I had understood that he was a must, or the dancer, the Russian.
Yeah, there were
Really?
there were rumors about that.
Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
But I never
he-
got any verification from
Really?
Baba
He-
on that, but
Okay.
someone may have.
He must have to do something.
But he was an amazing soul. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't there a purity quotient that goes with along with the chargeman? I don't know if he had that.
If Nijinsky, you're talking about Nijinsky?
Yeah.
He had the purity thing going.
Do you have to have that purity thing going to be a chargeman, or can you,
Yeah, you mean of like to be a chargeman of a city or something like that?
yeah,
Betty said he was a must, not a chargeman.
a must.
Yeah. Yeah, the chargeman. Baba took the chargemen out of their locality and linked them up with the universal push for all of humanity.
Can I say one little tiny
Yeah.
thing? Betty must go cook dinner now.
Okay.
I'm the must at this
Is-
house.
The
Always,
must make dinner must.
she's driven by a must. Hey, so, well, should I repeat? I'll repeat very quickly for Priya, because you asked about Mara. So Adi, this is Baba's secretary. He was a real expert on God Speaks. He read it very thoroughly. And in God Speaks, Baba talks about the circle around him. And there are certain roles. Someone plays the role of Peter, someone plays the role of John, and someone plays the role of Martha, someone plays the role of Mary. So Baba said that Erich played the role of Peter, and Balkauchuri played the role of John. But they only play the role for that lifetime, and then someone else comes along and plays that role. And he knew that, and that's what's said in God Speaks. But one day, Baba says to Adi that Mara is always the same one. So it's not, so each time Baba comes, it is really Mara. She was Sita, she was Radha, she was Mary. It's the same one. And Mara herself said that she's always been a woman. So what does that mean? Now this is my extrapolation. I mean, he used to share that back in the early 70s, that she is always here along with Baba. Advent after Advent. We have basically the feminine counterpart who is eternally with us. I mean, the perfect masters, they are here, and once they finish that lifetime, they're gone. but Baba and Mara are eternally with us, looking after us. That's why going to Baba is even different from going after a perfect master, because Baba has been with us from the very beginning all the way to the end with everyone. How, I mean, like I say, how he does it, I don't know. But this is what Baba said one day um, in Guru Prasad. He said, the same theater, the same show, the same actors, and 24 hours a day, eternally. And I have not only to stay awake, but smile and clap. So he's got to he's got to stay there. He doesn't get to he doesn't get any vacations. He doesn't get to sleep. He's here. Not like Brad. He's just been sleeping all day, and he just woke up, and he, puts his smiling face in front of us. But
It's a disaster.
Smiling, innocent face.
yeah, that innocent. Brad, anything that came up with you in the last couple of days that?
I've been thinking about Baba, and seeing that I was thinking about Baba had to, even in his own avatar, to surrender, because his own surrendering to God's will, because he planned all of this as Muhammad. And so he's having to go about, he can't break the rules that he's already planned as Muhammad. And so how there's even Babas in the human form that he took is having to surrender. And I was thinking about just the whole collective, how the collective of suffering. And I was thinking about how Rick was talking with the Sahabas, how he just saw like a little flash of the suffering that Baba
Oh, I know.
did to all of us. And it made me just think that, wow, what a way he was preparing in Rick so he could feel and work with that for his whole life of that moment, just so he could taste what that suffering feels like, and the love that's in the suffering too. So all that's sort of been sitting with me the past day or two.
Yeah, just to go back, because some people might not realize, but Baba said that all that he did as Meher Baba, he planned as Muhammad. And all that's going to happen is in his next advent starts when he began his mission in this lifetime. He's working for the next advent. That's what Brad is referring to. So if you heard of Baba before 1969, that was planned. Your coming to Baba at that was planned when Baba was Muhammad. But anyway, and then the other thing was, this was something that Brad is talking about. That made a deep impression on me when Rick Chapman was with Baba, with his short interview with Baba in Mandalay Hall. At one point, he was, sitting on the floor in front of Baba. At one point, he saw, was it Baba's right eye?
Mm-hmm.
Right eye. He saw what he would say, what he would describe. He said, I don't know what infinite is, but what I saw in Baba's eye for a millisecond was infinite suffering that normally Baba, normally you don't see, but he got a glimpse of that infinite suffering that Baba experiences, right?
Yeah, he said it
Remember
was
that?
like a camera lens, like a flicker.
Yeah, he got a
Like
flicker.
camera shutter.
And one time, I mean, just some of you have heard this, but one time I was working with Bal Kalchuri in the trust compound, massaging him in one of those back rooms, and he was lying face down on a cot, and I was working on him, and I had him basically in my clutches, There's, so I could ask him any question and he was stuck. And I said, Bao, I'm going to quote to you a famous Sufi line, and you tell me if it was true for you and the Mandali. And the quote is, suffering is he, happiness is from him. Would you say that was true for you and the Mandali around Baba? And very poignantly, he is lying face down. I mean, I kind of intruded upon his whatever relaxation he might have had. He said, we were only aware of his suffering. Year in and year out, day in and day out, moment to moment. But if someone came to Mirzad, they got the happiness from him. Suffering is he, happiness is from him. So the suffering, how could they be in bliss when Baba is right over there next to them in infinite suffering? Naturally, they have to be in some way the same place Baba is, as best as they can do from a human level. But they didn't tell us this. They kind of, the Mandali, your father's not going to come home and tell you as a kid, to the kids, I have to go to this factory all day and the boss is yelling at me and I have to work long hours and I come home. He's not going to tell his children that. He's going to come home and swoop them up in their arms, and they're not going to know what their father has to endure in going out and working in a factory 6 days a week, whatever. And that's kind of the way I felt they were with us. They didn't want to disturb our childhood with Baba, especially at the beginning. I don't know if that makes sense, but what do you think, Bradley?
Yeah, I mean, I think, today when I was thinking about what Baba's, the vastness and the limitlessness of Baba's suffering, like feeling every part of humanity, even down to the plants, feeling their suffering, it's just,
yeah,
I don't think it's not fathomable.
Yeah. And I mean, I've mentioned this here on this chat. One time, a perfect master, after getting realized, so he's, oh, you guys got ahead. Oh, in a second, Marvin, I'll come to you. There was a perfect master. After he became realized, he decided to fathom the stature and magnitude of Prophet Muhammad. And so he plunged into that, even though he is infinite, even though as a perfect master, he's got infinite consciousness, but he's trying to fathom the avatar in creation. He's trying to fathom Muhammad. And he did it for maybe days and days, trying to fathom Muhammad. And all that he could fathom of the stature and and magnitude of the Prophet Muhammad was just one of the stakes holding up Muhammad's tent in the desert. That was a metaphor. He didn't even get to go inside the tent to see Muhammad himself. That's the difference between a perfect master and the avatar. But okay, go ahead, Marvin.
Yeah, I was just wondering if I know that Baba had a transformation, when he was younger, like 19 or whatever. Was he experiencing the suffering during that time, just before that time, or was it only, after he was kissed by Baba Shah?
Yeah, my thought, and anyone else can add to it, but I thought it was when she removed the veil. Then he,
Yes.
was that by the kiss,
Yes.
and then he experienced the weight of all of creation. And it took, can you imagine, it took Upazi Maharaj 7 years to bring Baba down. I mean, both of them have infinite powers. Bring Baba down to the gross consciousness, down to the street level of creation. 7 years. And excruciatingly painful, because you're going from, it's like going, 10,000 feet into the ocean. The farther you go down, the denser and more crushing it is. So yeah, I think he said he had more of a normal childhood. As normal, and then once they start removing the veil, then it all happens. And then Bradley has to leave the sofa and go out and face the music. Hey, where's Hunter?
He's over here.
Uh-huh.
But he's going to join us here in a little bit. He's got to take care of a little business. So.
Yeah. And Alan Manukian is somewhere around here.
Hey, I just popped in. I was away for a minute there.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea what is being said, but
yeah,
you guys are all great.
Well, we were talking about, and you might have heard Rick Chapman's talk where he, and I had never heard him say this before, where for a millisecond, for a flash, when he was with Bob in Mandalay Hall, for the brief time he was with him, he saw in, I think it was Baba's right eye, he said, what I saw, he said, I don't know if I can judge what is infinite, but what I saw in Baba's eyes, infinite suffering. Something that Baba would not normally, I'm sure, let you see. But he saw that. I mean, so Baba revealed to him a little bit of that.
How many times did Rick meet Baba?
Just that one time. In 1966, I think.
Oh, wow. Well, I got to go back to listen to his talk that he gave the other day. The one that.
It was very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially stressing taking Baba's name. The importance of taking Baba's name.
Yeah.
In your spare moments.
Absolutely.
When you're not watching the news. No.
Yeah.
Michelle.
What? Hi.
Oh, it looked like you were about to say something.
No, my kid, he had really crazy hair before, and he just took a shower, so it's not so crazy. He's not competition for Alan.
Uh-huh.
There he is. Here's the handsome dude.
Uh-huh. There he is. Oh, this is one of the most well-behaved kids on the planet.
That's true.
That's because he says he wants to work for the FBI.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I'm not kidding.
Oh, yeah. Boy, they could have used a little bit of that last Wednesday.
Well, evidently they did. The FBI did warn them, but
yeah.
But I want to go back to Baba's suffering and about his humanity. I do recall Arij mentioning that they would see him suffering and they couldn't figure out how he could do a darshan program. And yet he would go out there and it was like night and day. And then he would walk off the pandal and they'd escort him behind closed door. And
he'd be totally deplete and and run down, and he would think, how is Baba ever going to be able to give darshan? They'd have to kind of help him out of the room. But once he got out on the stage, his divinity just shone through. But this was an interesting thing. I don't know if Brad was there, but this made a deep impression on me. I mean, I'm repeating things, but um, when Amrit went to see Baba when she was 18, she had come down to Merzad to be married to Dara. And so, she had met Baba when she was a young kid, and Baba was God and everything like that. But now, this is many years later, she was in the main house, and she was going to go from the main house into his bedroom to see him after many years. So she went in there, and Baba was sitting on his bed with his back to her. If you come in that interior door, and she saw him, and she said, "Oh, it's just such an old," and I think she even said pathetic-looking man. And she came around the front, around to the front of the bed, and this is God. I mean, she didn't uh, didn't know quite how to respond. And then Baba opened up his arms and embraced her, and she felt who he was. But this is the comment that Baba made. I don't know the exact words, but it's pretty much like this. He said, "You all make me have to prove to you that I'm God." In other words, he had to, for this young, she was only 18, but had to show his divinity. The humanity, it was hard to see who Baba was, just seeing his humanity, his Baba in his suffering state. You all make me have to prove that I am God, I think which he did. In embracing her, he gave her that experience. I thought that was very telling. Yeah. We got
Hi,
Lanita
Jeff.
finally. She paid her rent and now she's back on the Wi-Fi.
Hi, Jeff. It's Cindy.
Oh, Cindy,
I'm
yeah.
laying in bed, cuddled up, and I've been thinking about, like, since Effort and Grace, when you were talking about the two layers of the mind. One is the thoughts that interfaces through the brain, and the other interfaces through the heart, like the human, more heart, the feelings and the emotions.
Yeah.
And then the heart of God, or the dill, the deeper heart. And as you were sharing about Baba's suffering, I was thinking, just having glimpses of the experience of being at that deeper level of the heart, like that's the infinite bliss that Baba could experience while having the humanity of the levels of the feelings that, even the sensations of the body that were so intense. And I've just been having little glimmers of how to experience my humanity in a deeper way since Sunday, from my infinite self, the heart of God self, rather than from the personality self in those two layers of the mind. So I've been very much appreciating that guidance.
Yeah, that was really Baba. Brad wasn't there, but this is something that Baba told the men in 1954, that the two aspects of the mind with a capital M is the the thinking part with its memory and imagination, all the thoughts and everything is one aspect. And then there's what he calls the heart, which is all your emotions and feelings and desires. And those are the two aspects. And and of course, he said that, first the thoughts come, and if you and if the thoughts are, if you can't control the thoughts, we're talking about selfishness here, then it drops down to the heart, the emotions. And if you can stop it there, the impulses and everything, that is good. But then once it drops down to action, then it's much more binding, you know. But the one thing that I gathered from Erich and Darwin and my own experience is that in the discourse, Darwin says, in the heart is all good and all evil. Think about that. In the heart is all good and all evil. And what he means is that when love is coming through the heart, it's the magnificent vehicle for love coming through the heart. But the heart is also a very efficient vehicle for the ego. So in other words, less greed and anger and envy and jealousy can also be expressed through the heart. So you can't give the heart a blank check. But love doesn't originate in the heart. It comes from beyond, in the other dimension with Baba, and it comes through us. We think, because it comes through us, we think it actually comes from the heart, but the heart is a vehicle. So in looking for love, we have to kind of go beyond the heart to that innermost place, to the source of that love, which is Baba, which is our soul. That's where it comes. So Baba says that feelings and emotions are the creation of mind and energy. Love is the creation of the soul. I don't know if that that I've always found that very helpful in getting a sense of the inner dynamic of the heart, or what's going on in there. But if you just kind of give the heart a blank check, you might wind up behind bars, I mean, the emotions, the negative emotions can work through the heart very, very efficiently. And of course, it's best when love comes through the heart. But we think of the heart as the origin of love. Does that make, I mean, it's a matter of kind of, I'm saying that verbally, but there is a place within us that can get a sense that when love comes, it's coming from, like a musician, you say, wow, I woke up this morning and this song just came to me, the words and the melody. It didn't come from me, it came through me. So it comes from that other dimension and comes through us. I don't know if that, as a singer, when that music is coming from the deeper part of you and when it's coming from the lesser part of you, so to speak. I mean, we all like it when it's coming from the realm of love through us.
Jeff, I can relate to what you're saying, because when I've sat there, or been going through my life or whatever, and really trying to think of Baba and hold on to him, and then when there's for example, there was the concert where Adrian played her concert at the Sahavas recently, and it was like the first few notes that she was singing, then I was no longer, it was nothing that deserved that sort of unconditional divine love. It was just, it came from within, and it was an effulgence outward, and it wasn't because I efforted or because I did something. It was like, and in my mind for a split second, I was like, I did nothing to deserve this, really. Like, this is just is. Like, I just was like, there's no efforting I could have done to have tasted this. Like, and I was completely overcome with Baba's presence. And and then I remember the line that you said where you said you heard what Mara had said about, sometimes she feels, or the fact she was talking about depression and down and stuff like that. You're like, well, I must not know what love is. And I sort of had that, I sort of remember that. I was like, wow, this is that particular instance though was helpful, because later on in these weeks that have been for work have been particularly challenging. And instead of trying to, I would say, desperately hold on to catching that glimpse again, the only thing I could do, like for example, last night I was on call, so I have this work phone where I have to be on call all night long. So I'm like working throughout the night, and it's very unusual, but the work phone doesn't usually go off all night long. But for some reason, on the last night that I had it out of a whole week, Baba decided to make a whole bunch of calls throughout the night, and I didn't really sleep very much. But in the middle of that, I was almost like maybe 3 a.m. when it was like, okay, this is like the third call. Like, I just can't handle it, Baba. Like, I felt like I really couldn't. There was no sense of like I can hold on to that feeling or expression of love, but I knew that I could. There was a part of me that knew that I could say, okay, Baba, okay. And that changed, even just that little okay, flipped it from me being like, God damn it, like this is, from losing it, I didn't get to that point, because it was like just a little bit of remembrance was like enough to like actually create some good interactions with people I had to talk to at 3 a.m. It was very strange, for people who are all stressed out, like with a giant leak in their house and they're scared, and it's like, I don't know. I just was inspired to say that when you were sharing.
No, that getting a little space there with Baba is well, I think it's him doing it too, giving you the space, but to be receptive to a little space there. Yeah, no, that's.
Jeff, if I may
Yeah.
ask something.
Yeah.
I really like what Alan shared, and I've experienced that too. And I'm wondering, how do you receive his grace? If you could just, elaborate a little bit.
Well, I always feel if you try, you determine to be receptive, he will respond. I know the other morning I woke up and this line came to me. I mean, totally out of the blue. If you make your heart, I've got to remember it. If you make your heart into Bethlehem, Jesus will be born. Make your heart into Bethlehem, and your Jesus will be born. So prepare the place, and he will show up. Even if you try, make whatever space, he will show up. Yeah.
It's a beautiful image.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly didn't come from me. I mean, I might have stolen it from Mayor Prasad, but I don't know.
Is he here to tell?
Mayor Prasad, there was something else I was going to say, but Mayor Prasad, you got anything over there in Seattle?
Jeff doesn't need to steal anything.
You got anything in your huge vat of experience?
I have a quote, I think you wanted me to read last time. I don't remember. It may have been Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find it now. Let's see.
While he's looking, I've been reading this one book. They're very good. This is one called The Real Treasure. And these are kind of exchanges with the Mandali, written by a guy named Rustam Falahati. And what's interesting, Mayor, did you find the quote, Mayor Prasad?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Humanity is receiving help on the inner planes all the time, whether it is conscious of it or not. But in order that this help should fully fructify, it is necessary that man should get rid of all forms of inferiority complex and be conscious of his divinity.
Yeah. Beautiful. It's interesting that he didn't say superiority there. Probably for seekers, inferiority is probably one of the things, because you're always falling short of the ideal you might be holding. You know?
Yeah, I think it's more dominant feeling, for the most part.
In the world, you could have a lot more superiority, but I don't think the Baba people,
right.
The superiority is probably not the most dominant. I think it's falling short
Yeah.
of love, of being loving. But I thought there's one thing that's kind of interesting here. I'll tell you about Rustam Falahati. I knew him as a young kid, I mean, like in his late teens, and he confesses that he was very moral and honest. And he was, he would have difficulty with the residents and the pilgrims because they weren't that moral and they weren't that honest. I mean, he could see, and it bothered him. And at the same time, he was, and eventually he was one of the residents there, living at Mirzad, at Mehrabad, and in town. And he just had a difficulty with the Westerners. There was, the residents, there were problems, there was a politicking and bickering and lack of love and everything. And it was very disturbing. And at a certain point, he got upset with the Mandali, with Erich and Mani. Why don't you tell these people how to behave? They don't have to be this way. They could be more cooperative. They could be more friendly. They could be more, helpful and everything. And he was young. He had kind of a certain idealism. And so this is an exchange that he had with Erich. But first, Erich says, Erich, this is one thing that Erich says to him, because he's complained about his difficulties. The work that you do around Meher Baba or for him is only a medium or an excuse that Baba uses to work upon you. Baba's real work is something else entirely. All this politics and petty infighting, which the residents complain about, was much more intense around Baba when he was in the physical body. So Erich was kind of saying, hey, it was worse when Baba was around. It was there between the Mandali who lived with him. In fact, if things were quiet, Baba would not like it, and he would stir things up and create situations in which the Mandali members would end up quarreling. That was his real work. to bring up all the ugliness buried in your soul in the form of anger, greed, lust, and desires to the surface for you to see and for eventual cleaning. As long as the dirt stays buried inside, you may get the sense of apparent cleanliness. However, when real soul cleaning begins, that's when you realize just how much dirt had covered your soul. For in the process of cleaning, it all comes to the surface and can be suffocating. But be sure that Meher Baba will take you through the cleaning process, and when it is all clean, the suffocation will end. Did I tell you my own story with Baba? After living with Baba for several years, I found that instead of becoming more spiritual, more calm and tolerant, I was becoming more ill-tempered. I was losing my temper, becoming impatient, and would even lie at times. I never did all this before I came to Baba. One day I was thinking about this, and Baba suddenly asked me, "What are you thinking?" When I told Baba what was bothering me, he said, now this is a good metaphor that Baba gave. Have you ever been in a room full of dust that is being cleaned? As the sweeping is carried out, the dust begins to rise and often chokes the person sweeping, as well as everyone else in the room. As long as the dust was lying on the floor, people in the room were not affected by it. Even a dirty room one can continue to live in without noticing the dirt. But when the sweeping begins, then one suddenly notices the dust because of the discomfort that it creates. So, you know, in fact, in this, Erich said that if you get, earlier he said to Rustam, if you get upset with something, you know, it didn't come out of nowhere. It's coming out of you. You know, it's not that other person's fault. When you've cleaned that out of you, that other person won't be able to get to you. You know, won't be able to bother you. Anyway, I always find this comforting to know that, you know, it's, hey, oh, Matt. And I always find it comforting to know that all of these things that happen are part of that cleansing process. They're not just our problems, you know, with no work being done or just randomly. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
I came across something that I don't know if I can share it, but it's a short video, and it's got a little surprise in it that I'd like to show you.
Go for it.
If you don't mind. It's not too long.
Yeah.
It's let's see if I can pull this up. Share. You might recognize this man.
Yeah, he was a great speaker. A sleeper, a real sleeper.
So up to this point, he's saying that he had talked about where he had met Baba, and you know he was standing in line, and he was thinking about getting a what do you call it?
A garland, yeah.
A garland, yeah. And then he was going to turn around, and that's when Baba tapped him on the shoulder, and he was like, "Whoa!" And you know, he basically was having all these doubts in his mind, and Baba was like, "What are you thinking? Just tell me what you're thinking." And he was like, "If this man really was God, then he would just leave me alone." And then Baba just like said, "I forgive you," and then like walked away. He's like, "But why do I need to be forgiven?" And like he's like, he was talking to the person next to him, Dr. Deshmukh, And at this point in the story is when I believe he's talking to Dr. Deshmukh, and Baba approaches him again, and this is where he goes. And the surprise is, I think you'll like it.
Okay, yeah.
Chatting with Dr. Deshmukh, feeling myself highly relieved.
Can you hear?
And suddenly, when I was talking to Deshmukh, the Baba from the other side, after receiving all, when he was coming, they stood up in front of me again, right in front of me. Deshmukh said, Baba. I said, again he has come, and then now again he might ask me the same question. But no. Suddenly some other, my inner conscience would tell me, no. Once he has forgiven me, he won't ask me again. He had already given me some conviction of God. He would maintain that he would God. So I was thinking within my heart, just while at that time, as I was further thinking that, what for he is standing here now? Is in front of me. Then Baba, pointing out to his hand, in which there was only one garland hanging. Only one garland hanging. Baba pointed out to that garland and said, I'm not interested in these garlands and flowers. And they will be destroyed, they will fade away. I'm not interested in these garlands. So answering me, my heart and my heart of hearts, he was answering me. So I was very happy when he said that. But then pointing out to me, you become my living garland. I said, I knew of garlands, but what does this living garland mean? Are there any garlands which are dead garlands? So I was thinking like this in my heart of hearts, living garland. What is the living garland? So Baba said, you don't understand what is a living garland? I know, Baba, I know what garland is, but what is a living garland? Then what Baba did was, he held my two hands with his hands. I shall demonstrate with this gentleman. I said, Baba, he is Baba for me now. He took my both hands like this and took it round. You don't resist. Like this. Baba's neck. And then Baba asked me, are you living? I said, yes. You have now become my living garland. Baba said, you have now become my living garland. That convinced me. Yes, I was so proud that I became the living garland of Baba. Then.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I'd like to share that little piece.
You know, the backstory about that too is that he hadn't he just kind of showed up at this, I think it was the 55 Sahavas or something like that, or one of those gatherings, and he was he wasn't convinced of Baba, and he hadn't even gotten the garland. So he was, all these people were in line with their garlands, and he didn't have one. And he was kind of hoping, I guess, wouldn't be noticed. And Baba kind of helped him out there. You become my living garland. You know, that was a lovely thing. Well, we got Hunter came out of the woodwork. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hunter, you got anything? Nothing. That was a very good question. That the thing you were talking about last time about serving from the our ideals and serving from love or helping. That's even to be, as I said, even to be concerned about that is a blessing. Yeah.
Hey Jeff, I had a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Baba lovers, let's say maybe not the Mandali, but those people who were maybe falling in love with Baba at the time around the world, were partaking in his universal work, whether they knew it or not, just by the fact of them loving him when he was on earth? And does that still apply to those of us on earth now who are graced by his love and are through the pangs and sufferings of love to get to him? Do you think that this is all part of
Yeah.
his work?
I mean, there's no difference between when Baba's here physically and he's still here. His personality remains. It's always here. And of course, he relates to us. And sometimes he even appears physically to the Baba people where they actually feel his touch. So he's even that close. But I remember Mansari used to say that Baba had told her that if, this may not be the exact quote, but if I have a lover, if one of my lovers is in the city, that city is protected. So whether we know it or not, we are connected. I don't know about Chicago. I don't know if they may need some help over there. They got no charge, man.
I do have something I have, speaking of Mansari.
Yeah.
Question. Judy was talking about, towards the end that she had to stay with Mansari. And she said that first this, it was like a symphony started. First the mosquitoes and then the cluck cluck and it turned out she was talking about the rats. And I was really curious. I was wondering why they were relocated and not just, dispensed, killed, forgive me. Is it because they're intelligent and unlike ants, Baba doesn't want us to kill ants or rats in the same vein? Because, and evidently these rats were ginormous.
Yeah,
like
big, yeah.
Did see, like the Chicago rats in the winter that eat out of my compost.
Uh-huh.
So I'm curious about why were they relocated or what the...
I don't know, but in the time of Baba, in Baba's time when rats were found up on Upper Mehrabad, they would catch them and then take them a long distance away from Mehrabad. They didn't kill them. But now whether this is after Baba dropped his body, whether they continued that practice, I don't know.
Well, that's what Judy said, that they caught like 28 rats and 29, forgive me.
29, yeah.
And relocated them.
Oh, they did relocate them.
Feeding a lot of rats.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, and to get that, wow. She was only supposed to be feeding the dogs.
God. Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Morty stayed with us, and Marv thinks we have film somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that would be good. He was a great, he was a real sleeper. His talking about Baba. He gave a very descriptive picture of how Baba worked with somebody who was an Orthodox Hindu. Baba just tore his orthodoxy to shambles, but in a very kind of playful sort of a way. It's well worth seeing how Baba did that, because he didn't play cards, and he showed up one time and they were all playing cards and Baba got him to play cards, something he just, and Baba did a whole lot of things. Oh, here's a thing about Dr. Murti that I liked, that Bao Kalchura used to relate. Dr. Murti came to Guru Prasad in this, it was one of the side rooms, I think. And Baba said, "Is this the way you dress? Look at this man. Look at how he dresses. Look at the colors he chooses." And he was like a very spiritually minded person. and the Mandali kind of got the cue from Baba, and they say, yeah, oh God, look at how he dresses, you know. And so the next day he wears, you know, tries something different colors, I mean, and he comes in, oh God, look at this, horrible. I mean, doesn't your wife tell you how to dress and everything? And he's just kind of gets publicly embarrassed, you know. And the next day he wears like something like green, and I don't know if green is that's the Muslim colors. Is it green? Is green Muslim? You know, oh, you know, and all the Mandali, every day he comes in, he gets Baba just, you know, gets on his case. I think something like 7 days go by. You know, I mean, I think he wore white. Oh, look at how pure he is, you know. So this went on for 7 days. And on the seventh day, Baba did the same thing, you know, humiliated him. And he said, Baba, what color do you want me to wear? And Baba said, that color right there, the color of anger. In other words, he was hiding his colors. His color was, he had anger in there. And so once Baba got him to explode, Baba said, that's the color right there. Because that's there, that you're hiding it behind this veneer of spiritual behavior, ideal behavior, but that is back in there. Do you follow that? Does that make any sense? I thought it was ingenious.
That was Morty, you're saying?
Yeah, Dr. Morty. Yeah.
Well, back to the idea of stirring up the muck, and it seems that we have a lot of that going on in our nation, stirring up the muck.
Oh, yeah.
Translate, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But we know we all know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got the catalyst. If America had a shadow side, which it does, they got just the right guy to activate all of it. Hey, so but I want to see a Hunter, anything that comes up for you. These guys are very what, they got a lot of great things that happen in them. But if it nothing, if it, you
I'm
know,
just grateful to be with beloved community tonight.
Yeah, you
yeah,
just
nice to see you too.
yeah, it's just great.
A couple times.
Dinku, what do you? Anything that occurs to you?
You're muted, Dinko. You're muted.
Okay. Now, when you were talking about Mera and that she's always come back as a woman, this thought just came to me that, do you think every time she's come in whatever form with Baba, that she also remembers her past incarnations as the woman with with Baba in whatever incarnation he was in at that time?
I don't know. I mean, I told a story last time. Were you here? I don't know, but there was what I'll just say this, share this again. There was a woman here in the States who was a Cherokee Indian, grew up, you know, very poor. She got married and divorced. She had 4 kids, very difficult life, but she always took shelter in Mary. She was a Catholic, and the thing that got her through so many rough times was Mary, the Virgin Mary, the Mother of Christ. And so eventually she made it to Atlanta. She, you know, connected with some Baba people, and she became a Baba lover. And then she went to India on her first trip, and she was there one day with Mara, and Mara used to go out into the garden next to the main house. and show the vegetables and especially the herbs and everything around the side of the main house. Mara had an umbrella and they were walking. It was just the two of them. Mara kind of had invited her out in the garden. And at one point they stopped and Mara looked at her and said, "I've always been helping you."
Wow.
So she must have known more than she let on. But one of the things that they said that Merwan Jesawala marveled about Baba, and even Balna too, gave it a certain term, where Baba's ignorance, there was something so incredible about Baba's ignorance, all knowing and ignorant at the same time. It was something to behold. How, Baba, I mean, Hunter would arrive and Baba would say, "How did you get here?" And you kind of give, "Oh, I took this flight and then I took this scary ride up the Ghats and we almost got killed and all that." But Baba would get into it as if he didn't know the whole thing. It was a particular thing, and Balnatu called it, to describe that experience of Baba's all-knowing ignorance. He used to call it omni-ignorance. Baba, what that state was omni-ignorance. So if it was for the best of everybody, all, her knowing her past lives might be closed off to her, veiled from her. It's all kind of what's most helpful to humanity, how much she knows. But she did know, I think Baba told her, he told her some things in the early 20s, some of which she revealed and some of it she didn't. And he might have told her that you have always come, you are the same one as Radha, Sita, Mary, and all of the counterpart of Baba.
If I may add something.
Yeah.
When we had the very first gathering of tea with Mera, Renee Eastman was there from Australia, I think.
Yeah.
And she shared that she'd spent a lot of time with Mera on her visits to India.
Yeah.
And Mera did tell her that she's always been with Baba in all his avatar, advents, and yes. And she also clarified, Mera confirmed that Mera was Mary Magdalene during the time of Jesus and not Virgin Mary, that she kept on repeating it multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Eric used to think it was Mary Magdalene, and and Monty thought it was the Virgin Mary. But very interesting. That's the only, I hadn't heard that. I should call Rainey and ask about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very comforting to think that, because as a child, I always would pray to Mary. I never prayed to Jesus.
Yeah.
And I think, wow, Mary was my Baba link.
Yeah.
He was bringing me to the fresh oats.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that people, if they wanted something, they would appeal to Mara, because Mara was much more less strict than Baba. If so, many people would, like to say, make their appeal to Mara rather than directly to Baba. Really, it's true. Many instances of that. Mara, because Baba would not refuse Mara if she wanted something. And in fact, Mani got so exasperated one day that she said to Baba, if Mara said the world was flat, I think this was it, if the world was flat, you would agree with her. And Baba said yes.
So I think you're suggesting we should pray to Mara instead of Baba.
You might your worldly wishes might fulfilled.
Oh.
Baba is a little stricter, you might say. But I think to hold both of them fills out your life. You know,
In
I
truth,
mean, to
they're
hold
one,
both of
right?
them. What's that?
In truth, they're one.
Yeah, they're one, but then they have a different, you know, the feminine side and the masculine side of God, you might say.
Yeah. Thank you.
Plus a sublime relationship that is beautiful to have before us, to see what a real divine relationship is like. Wow. Michelle, have you got a song you can play for us before you go?
Sure. What do you want?
I don't know.
Hear this.
The song that you feel inspired to play.
So my other guitar is in the shop. So this one, yeah. Okay, let's see my two. I'm getting ready to record this, so I should. Pretty new strings. I just got this back from the luthier. Yeah, there was some damage, and it's a very nice classical guitar. So it's been with me since I was 19. Anyway, so this is some of Baba's words, and tethered to this life, unknowing. One day to be seared by rapture's longing. The storm surge rushes in, the story never ends. Caught up in the wake, the sacrifice you face, shifts and change in life without warning. All else may fail, love never fails. Therein lies the seed we're sowing. Love never fails. Love never fails. Stirred by the moon's waxing and waning, like the tide bound by all its phases. The fragrance of the breeze, the turning of a key, the ember and the spark smolder in your heart, set ablaze by your soul's deepest yearnings. All else may fail, love never fails. Therein lies the seed we're sowing. Love never fails. Love never fails. All else may fail, love never fails. Therein lies the seed we're sowing. Love never fails. Love never fails. Love never fails.
Beautiful.
Hey, Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
thank you.
Great chord progression and everything. Wow.
Thank you. It's kind of like a study in G that I wrote it, I think it started 2 years ago, I think is when it came, around New Year's. I may have actually started it New Year's Day of 2018 or 2019. It's all a blur, but it took me about a year to play it to the point where I could actually play and sing to it. It's probably the most complicated guitar part that I've written for myself to deal with.
Yeah. No, but beautiful.
Sitting there, it's like almost ready. It's almost clean. I don't know.
No, lovely.
Thank you, Baba.
Yeah, very. And those things, where do they come from? They come from,
I have no idea.
they say they come from that other dimension, and you're the stenographer.
The songs, I really feel really strongly, songs are happenings.
Yeah.
They're there, or I'm often taken over. It's like I'm not sure, but I did have this amazing dream of Baba many, many years ago. I want to say I had this dream in like 2000 or 98 or sometime, and Baba's sitting there on his Pondel, and he's got this stack of yellow legal pads, a big stack. And that's what I write on. That's what and he goes to me, when you come back, I'll give this to you. And I was there in 2000, and I was like, oh, okay. I had a few songs. 2011. I mean, I've been writing all my life, but in 2011, I went there and I came home. In 2013, in August, my dear, dear friend Kathleen, my neighbor, she may have been here when you and Nan shook the house. But anyway, she would come, she saw Bao and when Pao spoke here. But she was my writing mentor and dear friend, and she died in August. And after that, I started writing this song, and it was called Dashboard, and it ended up Baba taking it, and it's the song Dashboard. So, and after that, it's been like a floodgate. I've written writing and recording, and I have a record coming out soon.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful that they.
We finished Inscribe These Words. So that song's recorded, and I have a bunch of other things going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep it up. Keep the heart as that open vehicle, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, so Ganesh has shown up. He just got fired from his job, so he's able to come in at any time now. He's free now.
Baba, not yet. Not so lucky yet.
You have to go to work into work today?
Yes, so it's a Wednesday, so I'll be going after some time. So means I work from home only, but I get to work.
Oh, man, that's easy. They don't even know that you're not working most of the time.
So,
Yeah, and Diane and Terry, did you finish your meeting in Santa Barbara or?
We did indeed.
Yeah.
It was an interesting one because the topic was with everything going on in the politically right now, how are you dealing with it? And in your answer, do not talk about politics.
Oh, so what did you say?
So my honest answer was that I took 11 days off between Christmas and New Year's, and I did not watch any MSNBC or CNN. And I watched Baba TV. I was on these sessions. I was on other circle of friends. We did the Sahavas. And then we watched YouTube things, and we kind of like Baba'd out.
Yeah.
And it created a euphoria in me that I only felt when I was in India. And that was 7 years ago. So to have that recreated amidst all this craziness was another proof to me, because I still need proof all the time that Baba is who he says he is, that with all this craziness, if I pay that much attention and awaken him in my heart, I feel things differently. And today was the first day after a week and a half back at work. I got overwhelmed and I got onto the crazy train that everybody else is on. I literally remembered people said, say his name, say his name. And I did, and it worked once again. So
yeah, beautiful. Yeah. I like that, on the crazy train. That's what Ganesh always gets on the crazy train. Gets and Alan.
so yesterday I went to the Duni, so it was like.
You went where?
Duni to Mehrabad.
Oh yeah.
So I was just there for an hour or so, and then came back. It was a nice trip.
Yeah. Did Pratap and Gadikar
No.
go or?
No. They didn't come. So right now it's COVID and everything, so not advisable for them to this thing.
Yeah.
Where do you
for
live?
their age.
Oh,
sorry, you're saying something again.
Lanita is taking off.
Okay, Baba Lanita.
I asked where you lived in India.
Pune. I live in Pune. So
yeah.
2 hours.
So Mehrabad is like 2.5, 3 hours from.
We were there. We did Pune for his birthday and then Mehrabad.
Yeah. Yeah, Ganesh does a lot to organize things in Pune. As far as a lot of the old people that met Baba and young adult Sahavases. Oh, so Michelle, you're going to head too.
I have to go. He's got to go. I get up early.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you for that song and for your presence.
Thank you.
Always nice.
Really beautiful song.
So nice to see you guys. Jay,
yeah. See you, Michelle.
Brad, I'm going to private message you on Facebook.
Good.
Okay. All right. I got to do the same thing. I brush my teeth. Good night. Marvin can read me a story and I will fall asleep and I won't hear any of it. It's true. He starts reading these wonderful Baba books and I just go to sleep. It's so soothing.
Hey, we get a little.
Hi, Adrian.
Get a little bit of Adrian there.
Hi, Adrian. I can go to sleep. It's late.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I was. I don't know. Is it time for? I'm not usually here so late. Whoops. Am I? No. I had to jump in. I listened to you on cooking, but On the subject of Mary or Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
I can save you the call to Rainey. I too had always thought that Mother Mary was the one who was his beloved, but she referred me to Meher, the book, and there are several places, maybe 3 in the book where I can read them to you, quotes where David Fenster gets his, I don't know, is he the source? But
he's one of the
yeah.
best.
All right then. Well, they're short. You want me to read them to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is volume. Well, let's start with volume 1.
Diane, what we're determining is, was Mary, the Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus, or was she Mary Magdalene? The Mondali were split on that.
Really?
Eric thought it was Mary Magdalene, and Mani thought it was Mother Mary.
No, Mani's cited here. So I'll read it. She's quoted. Yeah. All right. Okay. This is
Did
actually.
Baba say anything?
Well, he must not have, or there wouldn't be a controversy. All right. Oh, well, all right, here's a quote. Mira mentioned something that she'd always wondered about. When Baba was in a communicative mood, Mehera wondered something that she had always wondered about, or mentioned something. The Christians say that Jesus was born to a Virgin Mary. The nuns taught us that Mary gave birth to Jesus through the Immaculate Conception when the shadow of the Holy Ghost fell on her. Is this true? No, it's not true, Baba answered. Jesus was born in a natural way. How could it be otherwise? Every avatar is born in a natural way. The Catholics, in their love for Mary, have started this belief. And then on a side note, it says, Baba also clarified later that the beloved of Jesus Christ was not the Virgin Mary, but Mary Magdalene. Okay, that's volume 1.
Yeah, okay.
Then in volume 3, we have, Mani. Mani on the same theme spoke on another occasion. Baba said Mara was his beloved, that he loved her most, that her love for him was matchless and childlike in its purity and simplicity, and that she was the one chosen to be his beloved in this Advent. He would treasure her expressions of love for him and see the way that she was pleased always. He would tell her, if you are happy, I am happy. The worldly minded who do not know the meaning of divine love and cannot understand a loving that is not expressed physically misconstrue the role of a beloved in the avataric advent and wonder if the avatar too has need for a partner like any other man. Down through the ages, humanity has witnessed each time the avatar comes, he has a beloved. As Ram, he has Sita. As Krishna, he had his beloved Radha. As Jesus, he had his dear Mary Magdalene. And this is a quote from Mani. But down through the ages, people have wondered, and it's no wonder that they continue to wonder in this Advent. Why does the Lord need to have a beloved when he himself is the beloved Lord of all? And it goes on, but something most insignificant throws light on this significant question. As related earlier, Baba always went to such an extent to please Mara and to keep her happy that one day, Mani in exasperation said to him, Baba, if Mara were to tell you that the earth is square, I guess you would say, yes, it is, wouldn't you? Baba looked at Mani and nodded very seriously, yes, I would. All right, so that's Mani's quote on Mary Magdalene. There's one more here. Where is it?
Wow, that's good.
I was.
Thanks, Betty. The first one you read from volume 1, which is that page number?
It is page 150.
150. Thank you.
And the other two, the other two are in volume 3, page 257 and 582.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is now Rainey. Well, she said it's all in, she said to look it up. And, let's see. Oh, yeah, I read that. Okay, so I have.
Yeah. I think Marion has got her hand up.
Oh, hi, Jeff. Hi, everybody. I'm just really feeling so blessed listening to everybody chat and this conversation about Mary Magdalene. I remember this one little interesting point because I appreciate the readings. I was with Bao Kalchuri here in New York City, and he was mentioning that, about it was Mary Magdalene was Baba's, Jesus, the feminine, as we described, that partnership. And then said about the Virgin Mary, as Baba said, it was a natural birth. And what Bao, he added one line to that, and he said, yes, it was natural, and there was no lust.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
Yeah.
And that's what got sort of distorted into virgin birth. There was no lust in between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had heard that they were both in samadhi when she conceived. But I had heard that. It might be there somewhere. Yeah.
Well, it's just so interesting. To me, Mary Magdalene is kind of almost a shadow figure. I don't know much about her at all. And Mary, on the other hand, is greatly venerated by, my goodness. So it's, I don't know.
You can't go wrong with any of them, I don't think. But there is a book that Baba recommended that Erich read, because Erich, there was in the early times, Erich, when he joined Baba, he was actually waiting around for Jesus. Erich was. And in fact, Baba used to say about this young kid here, this Erich, look at how he serves me and he doesn't even believe in me. That's what Baba said about Erich. But there was a book that Baba recommended that Erich read, which was by Sholem Asch, called The Nazarene. And there you have it must have been a very accurate rendition of who Jesus was. And there's a lot devoted to Mary Magdalene in there, if you want to know what she was like. She was a very cultured woman.
That book
like
is
a courtesan, but we don't know exactly. She might have been more like Rabia.
Well, if she was the purest soul, and if she was Radha and Sita, and then, well, who knows?
But that can be pure intention, not necessarily pure, because the Buddha had children, and Baba said this, that if he gets realized before the marriageable age of that culture, then he remains single. If he gets realized after after he's married. I mean, if he gets realization after marriage, he remains married.
Interesting. Baba said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So so when he was 19, he that all came down, so he remained single. Yeah.
Do you know the name of
So one
Buddha's
thing.
consort?
Go ahead, Ganesh. Oh.
No, sorry, but you were saying something. Let her complete.
Do you know the name of Buddha's consort, the woman?
Jaysima, maybe you don't. You're from that culture. Any idea? No, I bet Sham might know.
Sham here?
His wife, because she did a lot. Sham, what was the name of the Buddha's wife?
The wife, I also forget now.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I forgot.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yashodhara.
I'll try and.
Yashoda, huh?
Yashodhara.
Wow. That's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
name.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were cousins, weren't they?
Don't know much about them.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, Ganesh, you were going to say something.
Yeah.
No, I was just like to encourage what Jeff mentioned. So Jeff was just mentioning sometime back that Erich said it was Mother Mary who played the role like Mara did for Jesus. So you were just saying that. So I just wanted to hear that because I know what Betty Reed says, like what money and all. I agree with Baba saying it is Mary Magdalene. So I was just trying to hear back what Jeff had said about like Erich saying.
Yeah, we didn't quite know who. It was never quite clear. We were always trying to pin them down, but it was kind of still vague.
I thought I would ask Ward. He might can always
Hey,
read.
here's something that you might enjoy. This is an entirely different. Now, Marion, is your hand still up because you wanted to say something?
No, I just made that one comment, so I don't have
okay.
my hand up again. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see. It was up there now.
Yeah.
I just want to make that comment what Bao said about the,
Mary,
the
Magdalene.
conceiving, yeah.
So here's a beautiful thing about Baba. He doesn't need all that reverence that we normally associate with dedication. So this is here's a little scene with Baba. Pratap describes this scene. There's a little gathering, and one of Baba's old followers stands up and he makes this comment, but I'll read the whole thing. This is a story that Mansari Desai would often tell us. Once Baba was in a good mood while addressing his lovers. He asked them, "Do you know of anyone who is more compassionate than I am? I am the most compassionate one." No one replied. When Baba repeated the question several times, one bold Baba lover from Karachi got up and said to Baba, "I know of someone who is more compassionate than you." Baba asked, "Really? Who is that?" So the man said, "The butcher. The butcher is more compassionate than you. The butcher kills you with one single slash from his knife. Whereas you, Baba, first pull off a person's hair, then peel off their skin, then carve his flesh, and then you kill him slowly. Certainly the butcher shows more compassion than you, Baba." And Baba just laughed. A butcher is more compassionate than you are, Baba. The slow kill.
I'm going to take leave of you all. Thank you.
Yeah, see you, Betty. Yeah. I don't know.
Adrian, bye.
Remember, Adrian, you are always welcome to sing at any time. You have a standing invitation, but you don't have to.
Thanks.
The other night you sang, boy, just the first few notes were so touching. I could just feel it instantly in my heart.
What
I don't remember.
night?
What's that?
What do you mean?
Over the Christmas, or no, was it Christmas? No, New Year's, yeah. Yeah.
Your concert.
The concert.
Right? Yeah, right from the get-go. You touch the soul.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
You should have seen what I look like.
Yeah.
Alan was crying a lot.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful.
He made puddles of tears on the floors.
Yeah.
It was sort of dramatic.
Yeah. Wait till it gets older. There'll be a different kind of puddle on the floor.
I'm not too that.
So, any other? Let's see.
Okay, I'll share one.
Yeah, good.
Let's talk about this. Okay, I'm gonna be very vulnerable and share something. Wait, can I stop recording? Is that okay?
Yeah. Baba, she was ready to dance, for Baba and everything like that. But Baba, what he would do is they would be hiking up in some mountains and everything, and he'd ask her to dance when she had boots on this rough surface, and she would have to just on the spot do a dance, and just didn't show any of her talents or abilities and everything, just sheer awkwardness. And one time they were in some kind of ski lodge or someplace in Switzerland, maybe, I can't remember, but they were all there and there was some music and people were sitting around eating and everything. And Baba asked her to get up and dance. So, I mean, in this restaurant, she has to start dancing, going around the tables and everything and dancing. I mean, like totally idiotic, but she did it, and, people are kind of wondering where did this lady come from?
It is the path of effacement, right?
What's that?
It is the path of effacement.
Yeah. Right? I think Priya should sing though. I mean, she's just been over there in Goa just relaxing and everything.
I don't sing, Jeff. Unfortunately.
Oh, good.
Oh, I wish I could, but I don't. I could definitely read something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been reading this book. I think it just came out this year.
Oh, yeah.
By Laurent.
Laurent,
right?
yeah.
Laurent Weisberger, would that be correct?
Weisberger, yeah.
Weisberger, yeah. So there is this chapter on divine right timing. And he has quoted Rainer Maria Rilke, the poet. Yeah. And there's a quote. It says, I beg you, be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer.
Beautiful. Read that again. Lovely.
Okay. I beg you, be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So just got
Rilke.
reminded by everything that God shared today.
How did you get that book so fast?
Oh, well, took about 2 weeks.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah. It's a great book.
Yeah.
Alan wrote an essay for that book. Priya.
Oh.
He's in there.
Really?
Yeah.
See that caveman up there on the...
Great. I look forward to getting to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That was beautiful.
It's Alan Manukian.
Yeah. Okay.
Manukian.
Manukian.
Yeah,
Manukian.
we're heading to bed, guys. Jay Baba.
Yeah, I think it's getting... Oh, it's time. It's 12 o'clock. I don't know if...
Yeah, my mind is still stuck with that Mary topic. So I was just thinking, like, yeah. So like, in Christians they worship so much Mother Mary. So even I was under the impression that it was Mother Mary and then this Mary Magdalene and everything. but then why do Christians worship so much? Like they do have a churches and everything, and she is worshipped, and Mary Magdalene is not worshipped anywhere. So
Yeah. Yeah, that one went by undetected. But you can't go wrong. These people are so dedicated. Anything you give to them, they give right to Jesus, you know. They're so surrendered that you really can't go wrong, even if it's not Mary Magdalene or whatever.
and
I
and
think
one more thing
somewhere
is like, and
Christians found it, if I may add, I
sorry.
think
Yeah.
somewhere even Christians found it very difficult to accept the idea of God in the feminine.
Yeah.
That's been
very much so.
Yeah.
There's
And one more thing that reminds is when we were talking of Yashodhara, I think somebody said that Baba did say that Kitty Devi was Gautam Buddha's wife in her past lives and all that. So have you heard that?
Yeah.
Kitty Devi played that role as Buddha's
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah, so the counterpart may not have been Buddha's wife. It could be someone else. Because Baba said that Kitty had been his wife as the Buddha. Norina had been Joseph, the father of Jesus. And yeah.
And there are two versions to it. One says that those are like different souls that take up the same function, and or is it the same? Like, is it Kitty who was Buddha's wife came back as Kitty, or is it like the role was same, but the souls are different? And I get a little confusion over there because somewhere it's written like when avatar comes, there are specific roles and some it's almost not that same people come, same souls come back, but it is the new souls that take that place.
Yeah, that play those roles.
Yes.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that Kitty had a very valuable role in this life, but it isn't necessarily the same role each time, you know.
I found a similarity of like how like Gautam Buddha like he's married to her and then he goes back and he goes into the woods, into the forest and all that for realization. And you're same, and Kitty did, like Baba did send back Kitty in 1952, and she was at Myrtle Beach just longing when Baba would give a call back. So I think there is a similarity part where both were longing to be back with the avatar.
Yeah, she suffered a lot, but as it turned out, she was the perfect one for all of us. She was yeah, Baba knew what he was doing, but boy, it was painful for her for a long time to be over here and not there with Baba in India.
And she did long that he come to be back with him. So.
Oh yeah, really.
Hey Jeff, did you say that somebody said that Mara took on like half of Baba's suffering with the accident?
Yeah, in 52, yeah.
52%?
No, 1952.
1952.
48%, really. But we rounded it off to 50.
Well, I was thinking like, 52%, that's like significant if she took 2% more
Yeah.
suffering.
But the fact, though, as I said last time, the fact that she took on 50% of the suffering, Baba said about the other Mandali, if they suffered, it would be only a fraction of his suffering. And their Mara is experiencing half of the suffering. So she, that to me is that she is of a different order.
You mean divine suffering, Jeff? What
Yeah.
kind of?
Yeah, I mean, it manifests down on the physical level, but it's all the way through,
Yeah.
There's another very interesting thing I heard about, not only that Mera took 50% of his suffering, but a lot of people spoke about that when you met Mera, she was just so focused on Baba. Like her every being was just about Baba. And Mikhail said that Baba needed that. Given the universal work he was doing and all the pain and the suffering, he needed that cushion. And she was the only one who could really provide him that. I think that just...
Oh, yeah. She, and in those years, sometimes she would be there talking with her eyes closed and just describing. Baba sat there. He was, he came down and she would close her eyes and describe these scenes. And at one point, there was a woman from Myrtle Beach named Pam Lane, and she was having tea with with Amara along with some other women. And there's Baba's chair there. And Mara was, with her eyes closed, she was describing Baba and giving him, holding out his tea and all of that for him. But she was actually seeing Baba, this Pam Lane was seeing Baba there in the chair, and all of Baba's movements and Mara's movements were completely in sync. So he was responding. I mean, as this woman was seeing Baba, it was clear that Mara was seeing Baba exactly seated the same way. And, so she was then seeing Baba, I would say. Initially, she didn't have that, but then after a time, I think she was seeing Baba with her all the time. And yeah.
Can I share something before you go to bed?
Yeah.
I have this, a friend of mine told me this, I sort of extrapolated this from her, I think, interpretation of the, I don't totally remember where it comes from. So I'll just tell you the thing that I'm going to say. I have a vision of, or not a vision, it's just like I'm not saying I'm like psychic or anything. I'm just saying I see this thing, okay? I see Mara and Baba, like, Mara is that their love, they're constantly like reaching for each other in outer space, but in all of creation and all of non-creation and God, everything in allness and nothingness, that they're like stationed in a place that constantly longing for each other to be reunited. And that I see them now, like with Mara reaching around the world to try to get to Baba, and Baba reaching around the other side of the world to try to get to Mara. And then we're all just in between their arms, and their longing for each other is so profound, and they're always like separated from each other in this certain way, but they're one. Yeah. And so there's this earth and creation, and what we go through is like an expression of their longing and love for each other, and the fusion of their being, and also the experience of separation that they endure, so that this whole thing can happen, so that the world turns because of their love. That's the...
I would agree. I feel that is that, that's kind of what I would feel. I kind of, there's a truth to that. They're much larger than we might think they are, and they hold all of us.
Wow, it's a beautiful vision.
It is, yeah. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, then I think Diana's going to give us a bedtime story, and then we can all go to bed.
I am in my PJs.
I think it's...
though. It's like a beautiful sunny day in Goa, isn't it?
Hey, well, let's,
Yes.
It's after midnight here.
So it's Bauji's birthday.
It's Bauji's birthday, Oh, beautiful. Well, let's say goodbye to all of you, Sham and Jaisima, Priya. Angela's not there, but yeah. Cindy, I don't know if we'll wake her up, but or maybe she got burned up by the Dooney there. Dinesh is somewhere, and Marcia from Chicago. Is there any way? See you guys on the weekend coming up.
Come back.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Marian.
Baba.
Yeah.
Hey, Jai Baba. Thank you.
Baba.
Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai.
Meher
Meher
Baba ki jai.
Jai.
Thank
Avatar.
Meher Baba ki jai.
Sleep well.
Sweet dreams.
Bye bye.